Wait for it.
Otherwise, I'd give you an answer that I think you'd be very happy with. But
Damn!
looking at that
I should be president or something.
What's up, guys? Boy, Benny. Listen, I am not Donald Trump's best friend, but we know a ton of people in Donald Trump's orbits, and we are really close friends with a lot of people that make a lot of big decisions for Donald Trump. And with the best of my capacity, I reach out to figure out what is fake news printed about Trump and what is real. And so we've been asking a lot about the vice presidency because we know that Donald Trump will get one term. He shouldn't get one term, but Donald Trump will get one term, constitutionally limited, and that Donald Trump, who he picks, will be the mantle carrier of the America First movement going forward. And that's a movement that we care a lot about. And so there's a lot of young, great, like dynamic energy out there. So we ask all the time, who is Trump going to pick? Or is this report fake? Is this report real? Some people are saying that he has ruled out Vivek Ramaswamy. We hear that's fake news, right? For example. But what we often hear is that Donald Trump is on Donald Trump time. And on Trump time means that Donald Trump moves with his gut. He makes these decisions based on the energy of the moment. And he's considering a huge range of people to be vice president. He's actively having conversations with people. And you're starting to see sort of like people who ran against him for president, like popping up at Mar-a-Lago, popping up at like various events with him. Check out this headline from the Daily Mail. Donald Trump says he's considering Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Democrat Kristi Noem for vice presidential picks. Like you don't really have a larger, you don't have like a broad, you pretty much like anyone to the right of Kamala Harris is now under consideration for Donald Trump. So, I mean, considering Ron DeSantis after the war that they had together, man, that's wild. So there's this interesting video from this past weekend at Mar-a-Lago. So here is the video in question that has gone thermonuclear viral of Barron Trump, 6'7", walking next to our stunning first lady there, giving the iconic Trump thumbs up. You love to see it, right? Yeah, got it. Learn from the old man. But who is the old man behind him? It's not Donald Trump. The old man behind Barron Trump is actually North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Could Doug Burgum be considered right now? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? You're seeing all these guys. This guy ran for president against Donald Trump in 2024. You're seeing all these people that are sort of on Donald Trump's long short list popping up at Mar-a-Lago, and they got to be there for a reason, right? North Dakota's pretty far away from Florida, and so it makes a lot of people scratch their head and ask questions. Now, Donald Trump's been talking about VP selections for a very long time, years now. It's got to be such an annoying question to get all the time. And we recently came across Candace Owens' first interview after the Daily Wire and her separated, parted ways. And she talked about something. She was asked a question about being Donald Trump's VP. And based on what we know about Donald Trump and his selection process, is this a long shot? Sure. Was everyone seriously considering Tucker Carlson to be VP? Yes, absolutely. In fact, Tucker Carlson is somebody that Don Jr. said he wants to be VP, the top name. So Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens have obviously like a very similar backgrounds, right? Believe very similarly, are both in the media. Don Jr. saying he wants it to be Tucker. So, I guess what do we know? So could it be Candace? Well, we'll play Candace's answer in just a second because she was asked directly, would you ever be Donald Trump's VP? But rewind the clock 2 years ago, Candace Owens was asking Donald Trump if she can be VP. Check this out.
One more question, because I'm sure you've gotten this question tons of times, but are you going to run in 2024? And if so, can I be your vice president?
Oh, that's very interesting. Wow, what a good choice that would be. That would be fantastic.
Trump Owens, 24.
So, yeah, I think that's a great. I would be huge. You would be fantastic, and I really appreciate the job you do, and everybody does. The answer is I'm absolutely enthused. I look forward to doing an announcement at the right time. As you know, it's very early, but I think people are going to be very, very happy when I make a certain announcement. And for campaign finance reasons, you really can't do it too early because it becomes a whole different thing. Otherwise, I'd give you an answer that I think you'd be very happy with. But So we are looking at that very, very seriously. And all I say is stay tuned.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll take you at your word. And that means that in 2024, Trump and Owens are going to be on the ticket.
Trump loved it. You see Trump? Trump's like, that'd be great. Be the greatest pick ever. I love you, Candace. Be awesome, right? I mean, she doesn't have the Daily Wire job anymore, so she has the free time. Huh? Candace Owens was asked directly about this in her first interview since departing the Daily Wire. And Candace Owens had this to say: would you be Donald Trump's VP? The answer has changed ever so slightly, but not Candace Owens' appreciation of Donald Trump. Have a listen.
What's your relationship with Donald Trump?
I actually just saw him. I went to a UFC fight with him and Dana White, MMA fighting in about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you good?
Yeah.
One would think that you were ideologically aligned.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how close are you to it?
Oh, I mean, how close can you be to somebody that busy, right?
Are we going to see a Trump Owens ticket in November?
No, I am not interested in running. People ask me that all the time, and the truth is, I think that I am more effective on the outside and taking the risks and having the conversations that people need to have. And I just don't think that there's that much that can be done as the VP. How am I going to affect more change as the vice president? Or as a person that's able to reach millions of people from my social media feed and get them to look at certain stories and to have this conversation about real history and talking about birth control, what's going to have more of a cultural impact?
But Donald Trump's fiercely popular.
He is.
And what do you think is allowing him to get all these people rallying behind him?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's the understanding that we're dangerously close to losing our country. I also think it's people like me who just saw what they did to him and just flipped the narrative. People don't believe in a narrative flip that quickly, similarly to what we were just talking about with them. Candace is an anti-Semite. It's like, oh, really? Now? The last two organizations she worked for were Jewish-owned, pro-Israel. She just one day woke up. So people are not falling for the narratives, and I think that they're frustrated because when it comes to Trump, they didn't just smear and libel Trump, they smear and libeled all of his supporters too. Yeah. And they labeled everybody who was just worried about, gas prices as white supremacists, and that actually had the opposite desired effect. It tethered them to him more because they realized how much the media doesn't just hate Trump, but fundamentally resents Americans.
I mean, does this look like a ticket to you? There you go. There's the event that she's talking about. Here's Trump right there. Don't actually know who this is, but Candace Owens posting this, saying she's having a great time. This looks like a ticket to you? That look like the ticket to you? What do you think? Ladies and gentlemen, recently at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump was also speaking to another person kind of in the same vein as Candace Owens, Vivek Ramaswamy, who ran for president, has a lot of dynamic, young energy behind him. And Donald Trump had this to say to Vivek.
Vivek, we love Vivek. What a future. We better win. We better win, Vivek.
We've got to win. We've got to win. This was the event that Vivek was speaking at. Vivek was getting an award from General Flynn, giving an impassioned speech at the America's Future Gala, sold out. So what does this mean? We've got to win. I mean, that sent the sort of the internet all a-chattering. We've got to win. Vivek had recently said that he looks forward to debating Kamala Harris. Vivek, very much a team player, fighter, big-time ally and advocate of Donald Trump. I want a fighter, says Don Jr., lobbying Dad to pick one of these possible running mates. Don Jr. has said that he wants Tucker Carlson or J.D. Vance, potentially, but also name-dropped Vivek. It's quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. They want fighters. Vivek Ramaswamy has recently been asked about this and said that I'm going to support whatever decision he makes. Speaking of Donald Trump, success is unifying. That's our message. Success is our vengeance. It's a great, great response here.
Which party, the Republican or Democratic Party, is more united right now? I think at this moment, undoubtedly, it's the Republican Party. But even beyond that, Jesse, we have a country that's united even outside of the traditional Republican Party. America First includes all Americans. I've traveled to inner cities. I was just in Michigan, from auto workers to the inner city, from people in rural communities to suburban. You have to think Americans have their heads stuck in the sand if they haven't noticed that we don't have a southern border right now, that we actually have a wave of crime across cities in this country, that prices have gone up, that interest rates have gone up, but wages have remained flat. And I think a lot of this left-wing media has themselves in a delusion to think that black Americans or any Americans of any skin color haven't noticed what's actually happened in their life right now. And so I think we could be on track, Jesse, for a unifying landslide Reagan 1980, 1984 style election. If we make this as a party about what we actually stand for, restore the rule of law, seal the southern border, restore merit economic growth in this country, success is unifying, and I think that's our message, and I think we're going to be very successful, and the Democrats are going to be licking their wounds if we stay on message.
CPAC had a poll about VP candidates over the weekend. You were, I believe, first or second or tied for first, something like that. I forget who you were tied with. What was that again? Was it?
Yeah, so look, what I've said is I'm going to respect whatever decision President Trump makes. We can't take the election this November for granted. That's actually the next step right here. So there's a deep bench. There's a lot of great people in our party. I'm going to support whatever decision he makes. But most importantly, we have to win in that decisive election this fall. That's my sole focus. And I think that, Jesse, one of the things that President Trump has said that I've really appreciated is that, you know what our vengeance is? Success is our vengeance. That's the American way. I think we live in a 1776 moment right now where what our founding fathers would say is, you know what, pursue excellence, do it as one nation, and if we do that, we're going to be successful.
All right. Success and a little bit of vengeance. Just a little bit. Just like for dessert. Vivek, thank you so much.
Now, obviously, you've seen Vivek on stage with Donald Trump. The two of them get along really swimmingly. I know for a fact, I mean, I've seen polling myself that Vivek would really help Trump in a certain key demographics, independents, libertarians. Vivek polls great with. Vivek polls great with young people and with first generation immigrants, not criminal aliens. Those will be going for Joe Biden. Joe Biden importing 10 million new voters for himself. But Vivek, very strong with legal immigrants and legal first generation immigrants, of whom I believe Vivek's parents are to this country. And so it will be very interesting. Now, Bloomberg is reporting that Vivek Ramaswamy is off the VP list. It's very, very interesting. This coming from Bloomberg, could be fake news. Donald Trump has called Vivek perfect and effectively talking to Vivek about, well, fixing the country together. You need a VP chance here. You're the VP, like how the entire room is chanting that.
Good to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, how was that? Pretty good, right? That was pretty good. And he's a fantastic guy. And he's really, he's got something that's very special because he started off with a Zippo and he ended up very strong. He did a great job. I was actually surprised when he called because he was doing well. And it's an honor to have his endorsement. He's going to be working with us, and he'll be working with us for a long time.
He'll be working with us for a long time, Donald Trump says to Cheers. Recent reporting says that Donald Trump has nixed Vivek from the VP list.
Bloomberg reporting the former president has told Vivek Ramaswamy he will not tap him for that particular job, though he is reportedly in contention for DHS secretary. Bloomberg says Kevin McCarthy is in the running for chief of staff. No word on whether he wants that job. And for attorney general, Senators Mike Lee and Ted Cruz. The Bloomberg piece says the former president has cooled on Senator Katie Britt, but is impressed.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what Fox News is reporting says is the shortlist for vice president. Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard. Interesting there. Interesting little list. Quite an interesting. Pick Tulsi Gabbard. Pick like a Democrat, right? Very interesting. So Tulsi has said recently that she would love to be on Trump's VP list. Trump hits at possible vice presidential pick. Trump's been name dropping, though, Tim Scott, J.D. Vance, effectively saying, what he needs is a person that can step in and be president. And that's what Trump's going to look for. The person I think is going to be a very good person is pretty standard. I think people won't be that surprised, but I would say there's probably a 25% chance that it would be that person, Trump said. So it's classic. We reach out to Trump's team whenever one of these reports come out, and they're all like, everyone is lying. This is all on Trump time, meaning Trump's going to make a decision, like a game time decision based on his gut. Trump brings up Tim Scott and Kristi Noem when asked about VP. So those are obviously names that are kind of floating around. But Trump's also brought up Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was actually speaking with Tucker recently and asked if she would serve as vice president. Here's what she said.
So you've been in a lot of different news stories talked about as a potential VP choice for Trump. I have no idea if that's going to happen or not. Probably unknowable. Are you open to that? If you don't do that, what else are you open to? What's your plan?
I would be honored. I'd be honored to serve our country in that way or in other ways, and to be in a position to help President Trump if he is reelected, to actually address these challenges, to help execute those policies that will bring back a secure border, that will breathe new life into our economy and start to get this radical inflation out of control. Which on that note, I was in a conversation the other day with like two different groups of people. One was with a very, very wealthy couple. And they were saying, well, gosh, and they're not fans of President Biden either, but like, the economy is not actually that bad. The stock market's doing all right. And, it's not really as bad as a lot of people are saying it is. And then the next conversation was with people who are not part of that wealthy class, who were talking about, a loaf of bread is 3 times more expensive today than it was 6 months ago or a year ago. Basic necessities, electricity, food, medicine, all of the things that people need just to live and to try to live in a healthy way are far more expensive, but they're not making a whole lot more. The dollar is going, not going nearly as far as it needs to in order to be able to afford this inflation. And so I just mentioned that because this disconnect still continues between the elite in Washington and the reality that they live in versus the reality that the rest of us live in this country. And President Trump recognizes that. I'd love to be in a position to help secure our country and to get us off this path towards World War III and nuclear war that the Democrat elite and President Biden's policies have us on right now.
And as we've played a million times, this clip from Glenn Beck on the PBD podcast saying, listen, Trump called me and asked me who I wanted, and I said Vivek, and Trump says, that's what everyone's telling me. Everyone's telling me Vivek. So who the hell knows? Apparently, it's fake news. Bloomberg is fake news. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. What's up? We're excited for this pick, though. We're excited for this pick. We'll see. Big reports that it could be Marco Rubio. I don't know. Let me know what you think should happen. Let's go win. Unite and win. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.